Oh, how's it going, everybody? So, we're back for another edition of All In, where I'll pick a rock band and I'll listen to the full discography and give my thoughts on it. So, the band in question must have at least 5 original studio albums. Cover albums can count, but I generally don't count live or acoustic albums unless everything on there is original to that form. And so, today's band is going to be a band from Maryland. So tonight we feature Kix. So yeah, these guys, though they might not be the most popular band nationwide, they definitely got a lot of love here in Central PA. So they hail from Hagerstown, Maryland. Always toured around there, Baltimore, Harrisburg areas. And so what we got is 7 studio albums total, spanning from the 1981 debut, self-titled debut, all the way up to the 2014 release, Rock Your Face Off. So, they definitely were in their prime throughout the 80s and the early 90s, and then, of course, the band broke up in about the mid-90s, right when, grunge was fully in effect. And Steve Whiteman, he had his own thing going with Funny Money for a couple albums, and then Kix reunited, did a lot of touring, and released an additional album. So, we're going to start off with their 1981 self-titled debut, Kix. And yes, they were definitely early to the hair band party for sure, as we may have discussed in a previous video on Vlogs That Rock. So, we start off with Atomic Bombs, Love at First Sight, Heartache, Poison, not the band, the song, The Itch, Kicks Are for Kids, Contrary Mary, The Kid, and I would say a staple in their live tracks, in their live sets, Yeah, 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 which, that song kind of, tells a story of, going to a party, you bring a girl home, and basically her getting sick cock blocks you. That's kind of the whole story of the song, but it's kind of a comical story when you listen to the song. Whenever Steve in the song's like, "Oh, I feel sick. I can't hit the note. I gotta go home now." Kind of funny, but yeah, definitely a good debut. Not their best album, but a good debut, a good start. Then we move on to 1983's Cool Kids. So here we start off with Burning Love, the title track, Cool Kids, Love Pollution, Body Talk, and I feel like this album's real poppy. I almost get a little bit of a Def Leppard vibe from this. You get Locomotion, Mighty Mouth, Nice on Ice, Get Your Monkeys Out, For Shame, which is definitely the ballad of the CD, and Restless Blood. So here we're starting to get to where hair band albums have to have a ballad. It's like their self-titled debut did not have a ballad, but this kind of does, so if you like the more poppy rock, it's definitely good. Then we move on to 1985's Midnight Dynamite. And here we start off on the title track. You get Red Hot, Black and Blue, Bang Bang, Balls of Fire, Layin' Rubber, Walking Away, which would be the ballad of this album, Scarlet Fever, Cry Baby, Cold Shower, I love that song, Lie Like a Rug, and Sex, which is a real popular one off of this one. And again, I feel like that and Cool Kids are kind of neck and neck with each other there. Then I would say Blow My Fuse, 1988. I would call this their most popular album for sure. So you start with Red Light, Green Light, TNT, Get It While It's Hot, No Ring Around Rosie. Their most popular song, Don't Close Your Eyes, definitely the ballad. She Dropped the Bomb, Cold Blood, I love that song. Piece of the Pie, Boomerang, Blow My Fuse, which was another good one, and they end it with Dirty Boys. So, moving into the 90s, we start with Hotwire, and here we're still in the hair band era, even though grunge is starting to poke its ugly head. No, I do love grunge too. I'm not really bashing on it, but from a hair band point of view, yeah, grunge reared its ugly head at this point. But hair bands were still the staple at this point in 91, so you got Hotwire, Girl Money, which was a popular one, Loveaholic, Tear Down the Walls, which would be the ballad, Bump the Lala, Rock and Roll Overdose, Cold Chills. I remember that song being on Wayne's World. Same Jane, Pants on Fire, Liar Liar. And then Heebie Jeebie Crush. And all in all, it's a good follow-up to Blow My Fuse. Not as good, but I like it. So then we move on. They take about a 4-year break from the studio. And then we get their 1995 release, Show Business. Now, this is kind of hard to find. I had to go to YouTube to listen to this one because, first off, you can't really download it anywhere. You can't really stream it anywhere. So the only place to hear it is on YouTube. And if you do find a copy of the album, it is a little pricey. So it's been out of print. So here we start off with Ball Baby, and then we have 911, which was a single. And I remember I lived in the Harrisburg radio market, so 93.5 back in the day used to play 911. It was in decent rotation in amongst all the Pearl Jams and Nirvanas of the time. You got Fireballs, Baby Time Bomb, Look to Hypnotize, Put My Money Where My Mouth Is, She Loves Me Not, I do like that song too, Fireboy, I'm Bombed, and If You Run Around. And I feel like, yes, it's a good album, but I feel like it got overshadowed by like the popularity of grunge. Like I would call it their least successful, but definitely worth checking out for sure. So then we get to where the band breaks up. Steve Whiteman starts off his other project, Funny Money, and then we move on to 2014 with Rock Your Face Off. So Kix eventually gets back together. They do more shows. And this is one thing I do like about Kix. Like, they didn't forget where they came from, because they came back and they continued playing all these small venues. As a matter of fact, in my stint of seeing Silver Tongue all the time, I got to see them with Kix. Every year in Brunswick, Maryland, they would do Kixmas over at the Brunswick Fire Hall. And I'll tell you what, they still drew a crowd, for sure. They have their loyal fans, but that's the thing about Kix. They did not forget where they came from, and they stayed loyal to their local fan base. That's what I love about them. But anyhow, getting back to the album, so you have Wheels in Motion, great way to start it off. I feel like they really got back into their groove with this album. You also have You're Gone, Can't Stop the Show, Rollin' in Honey, Rock Your Face Off, title track, All the Right Things, Dirty Girls, another good song I like off of that, Inside Outside In, Mean Misadventure, Love Me With Your Top Down, I love that one too, Tail on the Wag, that's kind of funny, Rock and Roll Showdown. And for a band that released an album like late and well out of their era, it's actually pretty good. I like it. I was honestly surprised how good it was. I mean, no, not my favorite, but I love it. But yeah, I mean, they actually, this is 2024 as I'm taping this, but they actually just played their last show. I think it was like last year. They just decided to hang it up for good. And you're seeing that a lot with these older bands. Like, you saw Kiss hang it up. And of course, Motley Crue, they've been talking about it for years, but they keep going. So Kix, they finally decided to play their last show at the Merriweather Post Pavilion in Columbia, Maryland, in September 17th of 2023. And that was that. I feel like they ended on a good note. But as far as ranking them, I'm just going to do one era, because you got the 80s, which consisted of their first 4 albums, and the 90s consisted of Hotwire and Show Business, and of course, 19 years later, after Show Business, we get Rock Your Face Off. But I'm just gonna like rank it as one big era. Not really enough to split it up. So for sure, I'm definitely gonna say Blow My Fuse is my favorite. Hotwire, very close second. And I would say down at the bottom, I mean, Show Business, it was good, but it didn't hold up. It didn't hold up like the first 5 did. So I'm going to rank that down at the bottom, even though I didn't hate it. And definitely an honorable mention going to Rock Your Face Off, just because, they just came back and just stayed true to their form, and that's what I like about them. They tried to go against the times, which in a way was kind of ballsy, and but if you didn't go see them, you definitely missed out. But coming up next time, instead of a band from Hagerstown, we're gonna do one from Texas. Can you guess? Tune in next time.